In this video, we're going to talk about how you can build an in-house conversion rate optimization team. Now, really important disclaimer, this is specifically for brands that are doing multiple 8 figures per year and have a big organizational size of a minimum of 50 people. If you're below that, then this video is not going to make a lot of sense for you. Maybe you can still take some value from this, but this is specifically for really big organizations and big teams and brands that want to have an in-house CRO team. So in this video, I will just basically take you through the whole process of how we hire people, how we train people, how we manage people and lead people in order to drive great results in terms of conversion optimization. So basically, over the past 5 years, we've built multiple CRO teams internally that served over 204 8-figure, 9-figure, and even billion-dollar brands and industry titles like AG1 and Hewitt. So in this video, we're going to break down the exact structure and processes we use to build highly specialist conversion rate optimization teams to maximize return on ad spend, conversion rates, average order value, revenue per user in weeks. So there will be timestamps in the description of the video so that you can jump to the points that are most relevant for you, whether that's hiring, whether that's managing, whether that's controlling, or whether just improving results, right? Because before we look at the exact team structure and roles, we need to make sure that building an in-house conversion optimization team is the right next step for your business, right? It's not secret that conversion optimization is one of the 3 biggest growth levers for businesses in 2025 and beyond, besides hiring A-player talent and staying focused on the highest ROI task. Meaning if you're not using conversion optimization correctly, you're going to give your competition the opportunity to take your market share. But again, conversion rate optimization is not for everyone. The main challenges for every business size at 6 figures per year, that's mostly product market fit, meaning establishing demand and proving demand. 7-figure D2C businesses, it's mostly about ad creative to drive traffic and scale. And then from 8 figures on, the focus shifts to profitability and efficiency in the business, where conversion optimization is a must-have. So why shouldn't you just do more of what is already proven to work, right? Why not just scale ads and traffic even further? So let's talk about the return on ad spend dilemma. Scaling ads beyond 7 figures per month means that you're going to get more cold traffic, meaning leads and prospects and people on your store that are going to give you a lower return on ad spend as you convert less percentage of the ad traffic compared to usual smaller, warmer, bottom of funnel audience. And that's a huge risk if you consider that a huge fact and basically the single greatest success factor for social media advertising is not your copy, your creatives, or some media buying hack. It's simply your ability to outspend your competition and being able to buy customers at a higher cost per acquisition while still maintaining profitability. And that's why it's also essential to retain high profit margins, right? So the only 2 ways to increase your profit margins and to stay ahead of the competition are either spending less on customer acquisition or making more per customer, right? And that sounds really easy in theory, but in reality, costs per clicks are rising year by year, which makes it highly unlikely to decrease your cost to get quality traffic to your page in the future. It's really tough, so let's face it. Ad prices are never going to be the same as they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago or even 2 years ago, right? It's not just about the ad apocalypse caused by the iOS 14 update from 2021 or the huge increase in privacy restrictions, especially in the European Union and also now coming into the United States. It's also about global macroeconomic movements like layoffs, recession, war, inflation, or lower purchasing power that are stressing almost every consumer and forced adaptation, right? A common sentence these days is, I wish I had the CPA, CPC, CPLs, whatever from 5 years ago. A common sentence in 2029 is going to be, I wish I had the CPL, CPCs, or CACs from 2025. So more competition is joining the market every year and bidding in the auction for the same audience. So it's not a secret that if you have a great product, it will be ripped and sold for a fraction of your price by a competitor, by a shady dropshipper, or by some Chinese manufacturer, right? So simply because some people are insane enough to go bankrupt with ultra slim margins just to get a share of the market. And there are VC-backed, Chinese-backed companies that are just going to outspend you. So your product will be compared to your competitors, which always drives down conversion rates and margins. So no matter the quality, the originality, whatever, it's about the perceptions of alternatives that kills the value of your product. So for example, Tesla's stock plummeted when BYD, which is the main competitor coming out of China, started the price war. right? And Tesla is just one example of a huge, I think even $1 trillion company at this point that we all know, right? So this also applies to smaller brands, especially 8 and 9-figure brands that are selling beauty products, supplements, apparel, or whatever. So that's why hoping, waiting, and optimizing for lower ad costs is a race to the bottom. The only logical solution is option number 2, making more money per customer. Because you won't beat your competition by trying to get page visitors for close to $0. It's simply not possible, right? And then people are always going to outbid you in the competition and in the auction. But you will always beat your competition when you are able to outspend them for the same audience. If they are able to bid on a $30 CPA or $3 CPC or whatever, and you're able to outspend them at a $50 CPA, $5 CPC, you're going to win the auction every single time. And then you're also going to get more out of your traffic. This way, you make more money without spending more. So you have to build a profitable customer acquisition machinery with conversion rate optimization. So the leverage of conversion rate optimization, the two big leverages that we have, conversion rate on the one hand side and average order value on the second hand side, which both translate into revenue per user, meaning how much is every single click that you send to the page worth. So conversion rate, it's not just the conversion increase, aka getting more out of your already existing traffic, right? You're going to get more visitors to check out, you're going to get more customers for the same ad spend, you're going to become way more profitable without any new product or increasing the ad spend, and this gives you the profitability to spend more to get new customers. Now looking at the second metric, which is average order value, the biggest leverage of CRO is in increasing the average order value, aka making more profit per order, right? Because then you get more customers to spend more on every single order. You make more money per customer, which is not only a huge revenue increase, but also a direct profit increase, as you don't have to increase your costs. And this also gives you more margin per order, which then leads to you being able to afford a higher cost per acquisition for new customers, which then leads to you being able to outspend your competition while staying profitable. But again, as always, I don't want you to just take my word for it. So I will just walk you quickly through some case studies from different clients we took on in the conversion optimization sphere. So this beauty brand, for example, we helped them increase their conversion rate by 23%, as you can see here, within 3 months. And then they were able to scale their ad spend way higher with custom landing pages, code-friendly offers, higher conversion rates, higher average order value, and went from $60,000 per day on average to over $100,000 per day on average within 3 months. As you can see here, from May 1st to July 31st, they did almost 10 million in revenue. Another great case is this supplement brand. We helped them increase their conversion rate from 4.67 to over 505% in just 1 month. So here in April, they did 2.38 million, and then in May, they did 2.62 million. And we basically just implemented new product images. We completely revised their copy on their sales pages, and then also improved the checkout flow. And then just one last case study. Again, don't want to run through hundreds of cases now. Here we had a high-end home material brand where we increased their conversion rate by 17%. As you can see, they have a huge average order value of 889 euros. So increase your conversion rate to 0.5% through adding a custom product builder and more trust elements, which help them scale from 2.87 million per quarter to over 4.22 million per quarter. I could go on with hundreds of cases just like this to drive the point home. But again, just want to really make the point of how important conversion rate optimization is for your business. So I don't want to dive into the process of CRO right now, because that's basically a topic for another video. And I've already recorded a video for that, right? Which you can just find if you click on this link here. It's basically a 1-hour video that walks you through the whole process of conversion rate optimization, everything from collecting data points to coming up with ideations, to how you can design that, how to set up tools, right? Everything is here in like a 50-page document. So if you want to understand conversion optimization better, dive deeper into the process, then I really suggest to either read through this document and then watch this video. High level, it's basically you want to collect the most important customer data points like heat maps, quantitative data, and user recordings. You then want to come up with tailored conversion rate optimization campaigns, then impact rate them based on which one of all of these ideas are going to drive the most impact on conversion rate and average order value. You then want to build the roadmap and then execute the tests, right? So that's the high level rundown of conversion optimization. Another huge lever, basically 2 more huge levers that I want to share with you, are building code friendly offers. So I also have a video about how to really build offers that crush, which we like to call code-friendly offers. You can find them here with a bunch of different case studies. So this really is the new way to build offers for paid acquisition, offers that you can scale on cold traffic, super profitable. And then also another video that I highly recommend is this webinar that I did for the mastermind of Alex Fedotov, great friend of mine, which basically breaks down the whole process of how to build advertorials, how to build VSLs, and how to build funnels that you can scale with a great ROAS. So that's about conversion optimization and different things that I would really suggest you to watch. Now let's talk about building an in-house conversion optimization team. So again, our team from the firm Accelerated is 42 people now. We have a head office in Germany, in Hamburg. And again, this team has been built to deliver results for the biggest brands in the industry. So basically, looking at how we approach conversion and optimization with our accelerated growth model, we basically took every single skill set in-house, and according to this process, basically hired one specialist for each part of the process. So it's always a 6-person team, and I'm going to break down the structure in just a second, where we basically have a data analyst who sets up all of the tracking tools. We have a conversion specialist to come up with the ideation and basically building the roadmap. We then have a UX UI designer to build the A/B test, copywriter, developer to program the A/B test, QA to make sure everything is pixel perfect, and then a team lead who manages the team. So I'll break this down in just a second, but I just wanted to show you we basically just built it analog to the whole CRO process to have one specialist for each part of the team. And basically, so my co-founder Lars, genius in terms of operations, in terms of leadership teams and stuff. He basically built the team structure based on the Navy SEAL team structure, right? So if you look at the way that the Navy SEALs build their teams, basically, I don't want to dive into the Navy SEALs too much, but just high level, if you look at how this is built, every single person has 3 to 5 people underneath that they manage, right? So this comes down from division, brigade, battalion, platoon, squad, and then the squad leader. So basically, we literally have the exact same team structure from the team that you can see down here. We have one person that's managing the whole team. We have a data analyst, we have a conversion specialist, UX UI designer, developer, and QA. And then again, that's why it's a 6-people team. And Lars came up with this idea to model the Navy SEALs because we basically wanted to have a team that we can plug and play to any organization that we're working with, where they can work independent of the resources or the team that the organization has, right? We basically didn't want to be dependent on anything from the client. We just wanted to be able to deliver the whole service end to end for them, which is why we built the team the way that we built them. So this is basically the team, and as you can see, it follows exactly the structure of 6 people with a team lead and then a specialist for every single part of the process. If you look at the Navy SEAL team, they also have one role for everything that you need in the team, and this whole 6-people team can basically work autonomously and they don't need any external resources. They basically have one role for everything. Now, if we look at this super complex conversion optimization process, the biggest mistake that I see people run into is handing over this complete process that has so many moving parts and different stations and different things that are important in the process, is they just hand it over to one generalist, to their e-com manager, to the head of e-com, or just one developer or whatever, and say, hey, just manage this too. Right? Or they go to their paid acquisition team, to their copywriter, creative strategist, whatever, and they say, hey, please just do some CRO tests. And then I'm like, bro, this is a crazy complex process, as you can see and as you can tell by the way that we built this team structure, which has so many different specialists needed, right? Everything from a person being able to understand data, to a person being able to understand human behavior, to a person being able to then translate that into iterations for copy, UX, UI, and everything. Do that changes, program these A/B tests, do quality assurance, push them live, and then also a person managing this whole team, right? So it's a crazy high effort, and which is why we also highly suggest that you have a whole team of CRO specialists who can execute this process and ensure that you're running the right tests in the right order and not make any mistakes and get the best possible results, right? Because otherwise you're just going to end up doing a lot, wasting money and valuable time, and seeing little to no significant return. So here's basically the way that we build the team. Again, I already explained all of the stuff that's written down here. So just if you want to recap it, read the document. But basically, again, this is the CRO process high level that I also already explained. And then again, every single person in this team has one specific part of the process, one specific focus, and one specific ownership. So the data analyst, right, they lay the foundation, they use tools like Google Analytics, Hotjar, they set up tracking, they analyze customer behavior, market trends, competitors, and if you don't have this role, you lack insights that make this testing successful. The conversion specialist is basically the person of the consumer behavior understanding, the marketing person in this team. They collaborate with the data analyst to develop CRO hypotheses and then prioritize tests based on their potential, right? What I was talking about earlier here. And they also then build the roadmap and build the wireframes and make sure that every single CRO hypothesis is strategic and focused on the customer. The UX UI designer, they would then take these wireframes and bring them to life visually, and then basically just translate it in a way that it fits perfect into the brand identity, brand guidelines, and then just create the mockups in Figma for both desktop and mobile that are ready for testing. Developer basically just programs all of the A/B tests, landing pages, and all of that stuff. Quality assurance is then the person in the team. It's basically a person in our office who has all devices you can imagine, like iPhone, iPad, MacBook, laptop, iMac, huge desktop, just to make sure that the website is working perfectly fine on every single device. And then we have a team lead on top that just coordinates the entire process, making sure that everyone is on deadline and everything is handled perfectly fine between the roles. So in terms of the hiring process, this is basically the process that I would suggest you to follow. First of all, I would do an internal analysis of what is the workload that you're going to give to the team and the capacity that you need in regards for that. And then also, which roles do you maybe already have internally, like a data analyst or designer or developer that you can use to build this team. So that's the number one. You have to have a super great overview of really who do you want to hire, why do you want to hire them, and how are they going to fit in this process. Secondly, the recruiting. So now we want to generate applicants. So for example, we like to use platforms like Recruity or Join, or we like to work with headhunters. So for a lot of brands, I just suggest to look at other brands, other competitors in the space, preferably a little bit bigger companies. For example, if you're a beauty brand doing 10 million, then I would look for a beauty brand that's doing 20 to 50 million per year, and then specifically headhunt from this brand the roles that you need. The third thing is then the role profile clarity. So you want to make sure that you qualify people for one specific role. So this again is the issue that I see a lot of people do. They say, I don't know, I don't need a data scientist and a conversion specialist. I will just find one person who's going to do both. And then I will tell them these two are super different roles. It's like media buying, creative strategist, right? One person is super introverted, super technical, super analytical in terms of looking at data points to derive opportunities. And then the second person is super open, super empathic, understands marketing, understands consumer behavior, and can put themselves in the shoes of any target audience. So it's two completely different personality types, which is why we separate that into two roles. We had them in one role in the past, like 3-4 years ago, and there was a huge shit show. So please don't do the same mistake. So that's the first thing. Secondly, do these applicants fit into the whole team structure, right? Do they really match well with the people that you already hired or with the other people that you want to hire? And then I would also make sure that they are a great fit for your company. They buy into the vision, you hire them full-time, and they are under your contract. They are not a freelancer who is working for 100 other brands or whatever. Then I would basically do a pre-selection sort out of all of the applicants and check for red flags if they are quickly changing companies, if they are just talking a lot, if they cannot perform well on a task you send to them, just sort them out. And then what we like to do from the ones that are left over, just do a first call with our head of HR, right? Then what we like to do is we send them another test task, right? So this is just a super quick one. So then we like to send them a super deep dive test task, which is typically 1 to 2 hours that they cannot do with ChatGPT or anything else, where we just want to understand, do they have a qualification for the role? If they send this test task back and it's really great, we then do a second call with the head of the department, right? So e.g. the team lead or the account manager. Great context is less than 10% of all of the applicants that are pre-qualified do the test task, meaning you can directly sort out the 90%. And then again, you just want to make sure that you check for role personality fit after the second call. So you just want to make sure that the role you're hiring fits perfectly fine into the team, and then also that the hierarchy works out well. Right. So for example, team lead has the hierarchy of decisions, maybe conversion specialist has the hierarchy of decisions of what tests to do, whatever. So right, all of these dependencies in terms of hierarchy, you just need to make sure that that fits. Right. So for example, if you would have to, a problem that a lot of brands run into, they have an in-house team and then they have freelancers, and then that results in problems due to a hierarchy, right? Maybe the freelancer says something to the in-house team, and then the in-house team is saying, whatever, that's just a freelancer, he doesn't belong into our company. So that then translates into a lot of problems. Then contract details and company fit, if that's a green, then I would just basically send them an offer based on their role and seniority. That's typically between 4 to 9K per month. And then I would onboard them with the buddy system, meaning, just one person that they can shadow and one person that's overlooking over their shoulders. Key takeaway for this is you really need to know who you're looking for, right? In terms of specific tasks that they can do for you. You have to be able to judge their role qualification. You have to check for personality and company fit. It really takes a lot of time because over 90% of all of the applications are just a waste of time, or they won't do the test task, or they whatever. And you have to have a super great onboarding process that brings them up to speed quickly, because otherwise new employees are just going to cost you twice the money and time. Now, in terms of team management, once you have new employees, we like to onboard them with the buddy system, meaning they have a dedicated contact that's going to just oversee them, that they can talk to, ask questions, daily check-ins, and everything, right? So for us, for example, we test them for weeks internally before we let them work on any account. So for you, for example, if you hire that for your brand internally, you want them to work on something before they touch anything off the live website. And then we give them basically access to our internet training platform with all of the different SOPs and basically video walkthroughs of how every single process in the company works. They get access to Slack, Notion, ClickUp, Bloom, and all of that. And then they basically get tasks assigned in ClickUp to then do that. Right? That takes me to the next thing, task management. We like to work with a ClickUp Kanban ticketing system where you can see, again, all of the different stages analog to this process. So we basically built this process in the Kanban system in ClickUp, and then every single person has one responsibility for one part of the process. So for example, the data analyst and the conversion specialist, they put the wireframes here for the design. Then the designer, for example, has this backlog of designs they have to do. Once it's finished, they push it to development. The developer then has these tasks here to develop. Then they push it to quality assurance. Then quality assurance makes sure that everything is fine. They then push the test live. As soon as the test live, then again, data analyst and conversion specialist align the results, analyze the results, and then afterwards, again, give it to development to push it live on the store once it's a winning test. In terms of project management, we like to do weekly sprints, right? Really focusing on how many tasks have we completed, how many tasks are remaining, and we basically break it down for the whole team, and then we also break it down per role just to make sure that everyone is basically delivering what they are supposed to. And then you can see that, we basically just break down the sprints, we break down the status of different development tasks, or generally of the operations breakdown per month, per team, and then per person. And this gives you a really, really great insight and overview of how every single person is performing. So it's not like anyone can point fingers, but we have a great controlling system. You want to avoid these three things. Typically, you realize mistakes with the negative symptoms, meaning when it's too late, versus having specific triggers as a fuck-up prevention to react quickly, which is why I really suggest you build something like this in ClickUp to have everything, or Asana or whatever you use, just to have a super great overview, and then also break it down really per role. And then every role is really dependent on the next role, and then also owns one part of the process. Next thing is you have to have effective tracking. I wouldn't track every breath they take, right? But you also don't want to do over tracking, but it's really necessary to have a good overview of every single role, how many tasks they perform, how quickly they perform then, and if they are delayed in anything, right? And then I like to have buffer time, meaning it takes more time than you think, even when you already account for Hofstede's law, which is basically just saying buffer. You want to have some buffer time, meaning you don't want to have too tight deadlines for each of these roles, because then they're just not going to deliver and motivation goes down. Let's talk about costs. How much does it actually cost, and when does it make sense to build an in-house CRO team? So I would just do the math really quickly, right? Let's say you hire 2 senior people for a job at 100 to 150K per year each. That's typically just a third of the size of the team that you should have, meaning a 6-people team, for example, that we use on our partner brands. And you still have to pay 15 to 20K per month just for those 2 people. For a full stack team of 6 people, it would be around 30 to 60,000 per month, which makes it really difficult to get a great ROI if the leverage on profit is not there yet, meaning if you're not doing enough revenue yet. So that's why I like to suggest doing all of this, and that's why I made the disclaimer earlier in the video, that really starts making sense as soon as you're at around that $50 to $60 million per year mark, or you have an organization of 50 to 70 people because before that, the math won't add up in terms of the cost that you have for the whole team, meaning anything from 350 to 700,000 per year, because they have to do a great ROI on that. E.g. at least like a 5x ROI in terms of revenue that this generates, which is super difficult if you're doing 5 million per year, right? It makes a lot of sense at this size in terms of the ROI that this team generates. Before that doesn't really make sense. So here's how clients typically work with us when they want to have an in-house team at some point. So we always start with a done-for-you model where we implement our 6-person team for a short sprint to get CRO tests live and generate results fast, while we also hire and train their in-house team, right? So we just plug in our team, get all of the processes live, get the test live, get results, and then really quickly, as soon as we have done that, we hire and train their in-house team and then give them this whole process to the in-house team and then act more as a sparring partner. So most brands, especially bigger brands, they hate working with agencies, which I completely understand because they have mediocre experience with most agencies at best, right? It's not a secret that a lot of them overpromise and underdeliver. They offer too many services rather than being specialized on just one service. They work with too many clients, with 50, 100, 200 clients, rather than being focused and loyal to a very exclusive and selective few. They let junior account managers do a bulk of the work rather than hiring expensive A players for the role, and they don't offer a high enough ROI guarantee if they even have something like that in place. That's why I also don't like to use the name agency for our firm, because we have a one-of-a-kind boutique experience that reverses all of the agency experience business offers are so familiar with. We are highly specialized in CRO. We don't do anything else. We only do CRO, and we've only been doing it for the past 5 years. We've never touched any other service. We only work with 25 brands at any given moment and are highly focused on each project. We see a lot of other CRO agencies that are working with 50, 80, 100, 200 customers, right? Which is crazy. Me and my co-founder Lars are directly involved in every single project as advisors. That's why we also really select clients on personal fit in terms of the founder when it comes to choosing the right partner, because we have to work on the account and we want to make sure that we can really see potential long-term partnership and get along well with the founder. And we have done this so many times that we offer the best ROI guarantee in the market. Because if we didn't deliver on our promises, we would probably be bankrupt by now. That's why also a lot of bigger brands like Bionic, who have Cristiano Ronaldo as a major investor, or IM8 from David Beckham, hired us as a boutique firm despite easily having all of the resources to build an in-house team immediately. And this is the main difference between good brands and truly great brands. They don't look at the cheapest price, they look at the highest ROI. Again, it's basic math. If a beginner agency, if a freelancer or whatever charges $5,000 per month for 6 months and then guarantees a 3x ROI on that, it's $90K in total that they generate in revenue. If a second firm charges $15K per month for 6 months and then generates a 3x ROI on that, it's $270,000 in additional revenue. We see a lot of CRO agencies, we see a lot of freelancers, a lot of people that are just starting out, trying to copy our offer, trying to copy our ROI guarantee, and then just sell it for a way lower price. And this just doesn't make any sense at all, because they are not nearly delivering the same results that we do. And again, basically from the outside, it looks a bit similar in terms of the ROI that is being guaranteed, but the second option in this case gets you 3 times the results in the same time. And that's what smaller brands don't understand. You don't go slowly out of business because you don't grow, but because you don't grow fast enough, right? Business is not a single player game. You are competing 24/7. And if you don't hire the best to do your CRO, your competitor is going to do that. So outperforming your margins and being able to spend more for your shared piece of the same audience. So that's why we offer a team of 6 highly specialized professionals that have done this hundreds of times for hundreds of huge brands. Basically getting ultra fast implementation for a quick ROI for less than what it would cost you to implement it in-house. And that's why huge brands hire us. We've done it many times before to not waste time and money in trial. So that's why huge brands hire us, because we have done it many times before and they don't want to waste any time or money with trial and error, but they want to get results ASAP. So with this in mind, you can always build the in-house team later with already proven to work processes for your brand. So how do we deliver this amazingly fast return on invest on our service fees? In the beginning, we put all of our energy into the stuff that has the most traffic, because brands pay us a solid retainer and we want to get them the results in more revenue ASAP. So then over time, after the first 2 to 3 months, we open up the discussions about new funnels, bundles, offers, and other opportunities, even if we have to build them from scratch, because everything is already included in the retainer that we charge. So some owners of smaller brands underestimate the opportunity cost of not using a plug-and-play system and figuring out the team building process by trial and error. Every single day costs them. So every day where they have to hire or onboard somebody without any proven CRO processes, we have already 3x the conversion rate of the competitor. So we've seen it all, we've done it before, we have processes that work, we have insights from over 200 brands, we have a SEAL squad structure, and we have an ROI guarantee. So if you want to work with the best on the market in terms of conversion rate optimization, then I suggest you to click on this link, watch the video sales that I have on this video that takes you through our exact process, exact deliveries, and our exact offer. And also, again, we always, if we do proceed to make an offer, we have an ROI guarantee with custom pricing. So I suggest you to click on this, fill in your details, and then jump on a call with me. On this call, we're going to do an audit of your funnels, audit of your KPIs, and I will directly let you know the biggest leverage activities and the potential that I see for your brand. And if you and I both like each other and you see potential in this, I'm then happy to make you an offer. So hope you like this whole video. Hope this was valuable for you, and then I will see you in the next video. Peace.